are you suggesting that someone is using the corporate money to bribe the Chief Justice?
I'm not a lawyer, but as a former investigative...
But are you, just help me get to the bottom line. Are you suggesting that someone's using the corporate money or the dark money to bribe the Chief Justice?
What I'm suggesting, sir, is that there's a rigged system that's pretty obvious. I mean, when you look at the Chamber of Commerce...
What do you mean by rigged?
What I mean by rigged, sir, is that you've got dark money spending $18 million to put a pro-corporate justice on the Supreme Court.
How do you know that's influencing the way the Chief Justice decides cases?
Well, sir, it's notable that the last two that the justice who got held back didn't have $18 million.
But how do you know that money is influencing the way the Chief Justice decides cases? Now, you've made a very serious allegation. Tell me how you back it up.
Sir, what I described is a rigged system in which you have dark money campaigns.
Wait, Mr. Jones, I'm sorry, but
justices onto our Supreme Court.
I'm trying to stay on the subject. I listened patiently to your speech, and I appreciate your passion, but we need to connect the two. You've made some pretty serious allegations.
Today, you're about to witness a Senate showdown that cuts deep into the heart of our democracy. Dark money, the Supreme Court, and whether powerful elites are pulling the strings behind closed doors. Senator John Kennedy isn't pulling any punches, and the witnesses, they're feeling the heat. If you care about free speech and transparency at the highest court, let's get right into it. Senator Kennedy opens with a warning. He may interrupt, not out of rudeness, but because time is limited. He's here to cut through vague allegations and conspiracy claims about the Supreme Court being bought by corporate money. Kennedy dives in with precision. He wants answers, not speeches. A witness claims there's a rigged system involving dark money and pro-corporate justices. Kennedy asks, are they alleging bribery or just upset with court rulings? Are you suggesting someone is bribing the Chief Justice? The witness insists, there's a rigged system. Kennedy presses, not with feelings, with facts. This is where it gets explosive. Kennedy isn't buying vague statements, he demands specifics. When a witness mentions the Federalist Society and Trump's nominations, Kennedy zeroes in. He asks, are you alleging the Federalist Society bribed the president to nominate Kavanaugh?
Are you suggesting that the Federalist Society bribed somebody to nominate Justice Kavanaugh?
Senator Kennedy, the record shows that Donald Trump outsourced the pre-selection process for judicial nominees to Leonard Leo, who has long been the vice president.
I remember that. But I'm trying to understand what you're alleging. Are you alleging that the Federalist Society bribed the President of the United States to nominate Kavanaugh with this dark money?
What I'm saying, Senator, is that the record shows that this Federal Society and Leonard Leo has exercised extraordinary influence over handpicking who gets on the court. And then he went to donors at the Council on National Policy to tell them that due to these selections, America was at the precipice of a revival of laws dating back more than 100 years.
Yes, ma'am, and I listened to your speech, but I'm trying to understand. You got to connect up. These are serious allegations you're making, and you've got to connect up the money to the decision.
Yes, certainly, sir. And in fact, Leonard Leo made...
But are you saying that Trump would not have selected Kavanaugh but for this dark money?
What I'm saying is that it's quite clear that these individuals were handpicked by Leonard Leo for Donald Trump to choose from because he thought that they would advance his agenda. And his agenda...
How do you know that?
Because he told the Council on National Policy in his own words.
Kennedy presses, are you talking about influence or bribery? Those are two very different accusations.
Are you suggesting that the Federalist Society is using this dark money to bribe anybody?
Senator, there's an array of ways in which the judicial function can be corrupted, and dark money is a way of corruption.
Well, are they bribing somebody? And if so, who is it?
Like a brown paper bag of cash is not the only way in which money can influence and distort the rulings of judges or of others. And so this issue of how you define bribery, I think, is somewhat of a red herring. In fact, before the people...
Do you think they're being bribed one way? Just tell me. If you do, it's okay. I just want to know what you're saying. Do you think that they're bribing anybody to have somebody nominated?
Senator, there's a legal definition of bribery in the United States Code that's a very specific, narrow definition.
Okay, I'm done.
That's not the layperson's definition of corruption and undue influence.
This hearing was more than political theater. It showed that words have real weight. If you're going to accuse the highest court of being compromised, you need more than just talking points. Want to see more leaders like Senator Kennedy cut through the noise? Hit subscribe and the bell so you never miss a moment.